Emergency Tsunami by Nav and Wheezy is the best album of the year so far. Can you imagine if there is somebody out there who probably feels like that? If you really think this is the best album of the year, like, I just don't think you've heard enough music. Or you're a brown boy. No, no discrimination here. But no, this isn't the best album of the year. Not by a long stretch. But it's not a bad album. That's the one thing that really surprised me about this album. But to give a little bit of background, yes, this is a collaborative project between Wheezy and Nav. Wheezy is one of the better younger producers, right? Like, he's not quite in the Metro Boomin era of producers. Metro Boomin was more like 2015, 2016. Wheezy is more like the Nav. Yeah, I mean, Wheezy, Chase the Money comes to mind. Kenny Beats comes to mind. Take a Day Trip, they're great. I really love them. But there's a lot of these newer producers. But I feel like with this project, Wheezy kind of shined brighter. It shined like a past tense. Can you use that? I feel like Wheezy was the biggest star out of this project because with this album, he was able to prove, okay, I am one of the greatest producers working right now. Because before now, I mean, what do you think about when you think of Wheezy? You think of like kind of the basic Gunna Lil Baby beats, right? Like those beats never really seemed like anything crazy to me. But I feel like with this project, he was able to really flex, you know what I mean? Because, you know, whenever a producer decides to do a full collaborative project with another artist, that's how you know they want to show really their talent, right? Like Metro Boomin has done it a lot. He did it with Drake and Future, the two biggest artists in the world. He's done it with 21 Savage. And I mean, obviously, also this year, Hit Boy has done it and Alchemist has done it. So whenever producers decide to be like, okay, I want to flex, I want to show you guys what the fuck I'm made of, I want to make a full project, a full body of work that shows you how varied my beats can be or just how cohesive I can make a project. And that's kind of what Wheezy did. But you'll be noticing this so far I've been just talking about Wheezy. You know why? Because Nav was kind of forgettable in this project. This didn't really feel like a Nav album. To me, it felt more like a Wheezy album that Nav just happens to be in all the songs. But that's the best thing that Nav could have done. Because Nav, at this point, he's just not the greatest rapper. His past 4 projects have not been lauded. Let's just say that. People haven't loved his past 4 projects. The best that Nav can do at this point is just kind of be average. Because if he's not average, the only other thing he can be is bad. And if you're bad in such great production as this album has, then you kind of fuck it up. Here's the thing. My real thoughts on this album is just Wheezy killed it. And he really proved that he's one of the best producers working right now. And Nav was only bad in like 2 or 3 tracks, right? But then was average in the rest. And that's the best possible outcome that this project could have had. Because, like I said, Nav is just not that great of a rapper. So, at best, he should just focus on not having laughably bad lines. Which he did in a couple of tracks here. He had some crazy lines in Trains and in Dropping Tears. Yeah, also Nasty. Nasty was not that good of a song either. Those were my 3 least favorite songs, right? Nasty, Trains with Lil Keed, and Dropping Tears were my 3 least favorite. But other than that, he was actually pretty good when it came to the flow, right? Because in these beats, that's another thing that is very important to me. It's just your flow, right? Like, I can kind of get lost in the actual song itself that I don't really have to pay attention to your bad lines. But in those 3 songs I just mentioned, like, the lines were so bad, you couldn't help but just tune out, right? Like, it penetrated through the amazing instrumental, just how bad the lines were, right? And I don't have any examples off the top of my head. You know, I might put up, like, examples here or here, I don't know. I'm just giving myself more work, but you should be seeing, like, lines over here somewhere in this area, like bad Nav lines, because he has a lot of them. But like I was saying, the flows, you know, if you have a good flow, I can kind of get carried away and I can ignore whatever the fuck you're rapping about. And that's the thing about this album. His flows were great. My favorite songs where his flow was actually great and the song was really good because of that were like Friends and Family. What a great way to start the song. The instrumental of that was crazy. Young Wheezy with Gunna, like he was able to ride that wave as well. That Tsunami. I mean, I don't know. The song Repercussions with Young Thug, that's another song where he kind of carried it. And then his hook on Don't Need Friends was really pretty catchy. And talking about features, I mean, all the features did great except for like Lil Keed. Lil Keed was a guy that I was just like, because I don't love his style. You know, Lil Baby and Gunna get criticized for being copies of like Young Thug clones. But I mean, Lil Key does it like unabashedly and like times 100. At least by this point, I feel like Lil Baby and Gunna have kind of diverged from that. But Lil Key, this is like, I'm just Young Thug Jr. I remember he had a video where he was auditioning for Young Thug. I don't know if I can find it and play it for you guys. Can you imagine how Young Thug was reacting when he was hearing Lil Key like do his audition for him or start rapping for him? It was just like, I'm gonna sign this guy because he sounds exactly like me. I love people that sound like me because it reassures how great my legacy is. I bet you that's how he felt when he saw Lil Kid auditioning. But that's besides the point. The main point of this review is just to say this album was not bad. It wasn't amazing. It was just kind of average. Here's why this is. The production, God tier. This album was so good for Wheezy, it made me feel like he could be a Metro Boomin type producer. Before this project, I never thought that shit. I had no idea he was so talented with his production. But he definitely proved he's one of the best on this project. So for that reason alone, this already brings up the album as not forgettable. And then, Nav adds absolutely nothing. Actually, like I said, he subtracts. He takes back from the overall enjoyment of the project with the 3 songs I mentioned, with Nasty, Dropping Tears, and Trains. Like with those 3 songs, he took away from the project. That's why I started this review talking about how Wheezy's a real star of this project and not Nav. Now whenever I see a project with Nav, I'm like, nah. The reason I even listened to this album in the first place was because of the Wheezy production, the collaborative effort. Like, I didn't listen to Good Intentions because of that reason. It was like, Nav. It's a Nav project. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would I listen to a bad album? But with this project, their collaborative effort is what made me think, okay, let me check it out. And Wheezy did not disappoint. In fact, he's become one of my favorite producers right now because of how good the production was on this. But yeah, that's my review of Emergency Tsunami. I mean, I don't have that much else to say besides it's crazy how Nav keeps working with the best of the best. His debut album was a collaborative effort with Metro Boomin, who's probably the best producer in hip-hop right now, I would say. Like, how does he keep doing this? How does he keep making music with like such esteemed like features and producers? I guess his peers love him, which I have heard, like all his peers like think he's a great guy and they love working with him. But the consumers, me and you guys watching, it's like, all right, I guess he can keep making the music and people are listening, because at the end of the day, he makes great wallpaper music and that's never gonna go away. People are always gonna need music to play at a party while they're not even listening to the music. Rather, they just need something in the background that's not complete silence. If you're looking for that, this is the best album you could listen to. But yeah, I mean, I guess if I were to give it a rating, I don't know, I would give it like a 6. Like a 6 out of 10. It could have been a 7 purely off of the production, but I bumped it down to a 6 because Nav took away from some of that great production in at least 3 other songs here. But yeah, that's my review of Emergency Tsunami. Thank you guys so much for watching this empty review. You can check out the other empty reviews I've done on this YouTube channel. There's going to be a playlist that plays at the end of this video. You can click on that shit. Also, make sure to check out my podcast, the Empty Opinions Podcast. Full video episodes are on this YouTube channel. There's another playlist for that, as well as you can just listen to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts through, not just YouTube. But if you like to listen to it like a podcast is meant to be consumed, then you can, go iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, if that's a thing, Amazon Podcasts. I just found out about that. Amazon is doing podcasts now because Jeff Bezos is trying to take from the fucking world. He wants to do everything. So he's doing podcasts now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell to know when new videos come out. Like this video if you like this video. Comment your favorite part of this review and or of the actual album. And just let me know what you think of the project or my review. Whatever the fuck you want to comment. Just comment something for the algorithm, please. And share this review with a friend if you think they might enjoy it. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And I'll catch you guys in any other video you may decide to watch on this YouTube channel.